Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Living day by day.
Oh, man, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Change these, huh?
Yeah. So are we ready? So our mics are different a little bit, and I hear an echo, and also we don't control those and turning them off and on. Is that true? That's correct. Okay, all right. So I wanted to make that aware of the entire commission so that we're not speaking without having the knowledge of knowing that that's going to be recorded.
Yep, the meetings have been recorded. We just have a new technology system in here that we're trying to work through.
Okay.
So there is a slight echo, but you will not hear it on the recording.
Okay.
So just talk normal.
All right. Well, it's just about, looks like 3 minutes after. We'll call the meeting to order. Need approval of today's agenda.
I move approval of today's agenda.
Approval of the minutes from January 14th.
So,
Second.
All in favor, sign of aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Then new business.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
on which one? On the actual agenda, did somebody second that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Police officer recruitment process.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Scott Benny Wustein, Talent Administrator for the City of Davenport. You have before you a memo, very similar to the same memo that we presented to you in 2019 for the process, but we are beginning the very comprehensive process for the hiring of police officer, going through the multi-step, multifaceted, comprehensive process. Applications go live March 1st. They will be online for a period of about 5 weeks, then followed by the physical ability testing, and those that pass the physical ability then move on to the written examination, and then those who pass on move on to the background investigation, and then we move to the final interview process, and then it is our intent to have a list ready for certification to you all in August. I think the current list that we have currently expires in mid-July. So again, very comprehensive, complex process, but it's identical to the one we ran in 2019. So I'll be looking for your approval on that. I assume I need approval, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Any questions?
Do we need a motion?
Need a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second? All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs. So moved.
Excellent, thank you. And then you also have a copy of our police officer applicant workshops that are coming up. Again, this is something we've done for the last several years. It's a great opportunity for interested individuals and or family members to come learn about what the testing process is like, and then also what the job entails. So we do, if you have not been to one, I do encourage you to attend if it fits into your schedule. Thank you.
Thank you. Old business. Certification list, sewer equipment operator.
Good morning, Courtney Jones, Talent Acquisition Manager for the City of Davenport. We're going to go ahead and get started with our civil service lists. I'll run through the process. We have 3 as listed on the agenda for today. So the first one that we're going to go through is the sewer equipment operator. We ran this as a promotional position within the sewers division of Public Works. It was a 30-70 split, so you see the written exam and the interview process, and then the salary range, as well as it being a Teamsters union position, is also noted. So just some of the minimum qualifications that we like to outline in this one. You have to have at least 1 year of successful experience driving trucks, tractors, other service vehicles, sewer and pipe cleaning certification. You'll notice that you must possess and maintain a valid Iowa commercial driver's license with the air brake and tank endorsement. You must also become a resident, which if this is a promotional, you're typically already a resident, but we just want to make sure that we outline that There's a physical examination, and then there's also some additional certifications that you must obtain within your first year of hire. Okay? So for the sewer equipment operator, we had 8 applicants for this promotional position. 7 of the applicants that applied were qualified and invited to take the written exam. Of the 7, we had 4 candidates pass the written exam and then were invited to the interview process. And of the 4 candidates that did interview, all 4 candidates did pass and make it to the certification list today. Do you have any questions in regards to the sewer equipment operator process?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the operations project manager. Again, another promotional position for us. This one in particular is a non-bargaining position, but we did the 30-70 split with this one as well. And this promotional is also a part of the Public Works Division in the sewers and streets. Okay, so for this position in particular, we did ask that you have to graduate from a 4-year accredited college or university with a degree in engineering, project management, or a closely related technical field. You must have a minimum of 5 years of increasingly responsible experience in the field of engineering construction. So any of those would be particularly valuable. Again, you must become an Iowa resident, but with it being a promotional, you're typically already an Iowa resident, must pass a criminal background check, and then possess an Iowa driver's license that must be maintained throughout your duration of employment. And so for this process, we actually had 8 applicants. 8 applicants were qualified and invited to take the written exam. 1 actually pulled from the written exam, so we didn't have that person show up to the written exam. Hence, we ended up with the 7 candidates that passed the written exam and then were invited to the interview process. Of the 7, we had 6 that passed the interview process, leaving us with 6 on the certification list today. Yes?
What would you do to not pass the interview process?
Yep, so we have a series of questions that we grade. So each question has a grading component. And so sometimes, based on the question, there are times where candidates are unable to answer the question. So sometimes they literally just will blank out on the question. And we give them an opportunity, at the end, we're like, hey, this is a question that you had a little bit of trouble answering. Are you able to answer this one at this time? There are times where candidates tell us, you know what, I don't have anything for that one. And in that case, if you're unable to answer the question, that would certainly lower your score. There are also other times where the question may be very technical, and so there are a defined series of answers that they're maybe just not truly hitting any of those answers. That could also sincerely lower your score if you were unable to hit any of those technical questions.
Thank you.
Yes? Any additional questions for the operation project manager position? No? Okay. We'll move on to our next one. This one was a little bit more interesting. The urban conservationist, it's typically not a position that we hire for often, okay? So the last time we hired for this, I want to say it was about 6 years ago. But for this one in particular, it is a split position, so it's a 30-70. All qualifying candidates were sent a background investigation. The list is ready for certification, and this one in particular is part of the AFSCME union. Okay, so for the urban conservationist position, you had to have a degree from a 4-year accredited college in biology, earth sciences, geography, civil engineering. A combination of work experience and education is acceptable. So if you didn't have a 4-year degree, but you had a combination of some type of work experience in any one of those types of fields, we would certainly accept your application. These are just some other qualifications that you must be willing to get, some certifications that you may be willing to get during the time that you've been here. And I do have the outlines of the acronyms. We use a lot of acronyms sometimes in our postings, and so just to break some of those out, certified professional in erosion and sediment control, certified professional in stormwater quality, certified erosion, sediment, and stormwater inspector. So those are just breaking out some of those acronyms for you. I know I'm always curious, especially if I'm not a specific expert in that field. Again, there are some other additional certifications in there, passing a criminal background check, that's a standard for us, and then becoming an Iowa resident within 2 years because this was taken outside. So for this one in particular, we're gonna talk through the numbers and how we got to the end. We had 37 applicants to start out, 31 met the minimum qualifications and were invited to take the written exam. Of the 31, 18 applicants completed the written exam. I do believe this is for a number of reasons. So the drop from the 31 to the 18, something that we had noticed that we are working currently on is we had noticed that we had received a lot of out-of-state candidates. And it's difficult for out-of-state candidates to come here and take the physical written exam. So currently at this time, we are working at a process, working with other testing companies so that we can have candidates from out of state be able to still take the test in their own testing state. But there are some legalities with that we need to make sure that there aren't any possibility for cheating, things like that. So again, we're working through that process right now, and it's part of our work plan by the end of the year to have that up and running so that we can accept more applicants from out of state and encourage them to apply with us. But from there, you'll notice that there's a significant drop. So the 18 candidates completed the written exam, but then we only had actually 2 candidates pass the written exam. So I kind of want to walk you through what that looked like from our perspective. And one of the first things that I noticed, obviously it's an 11% passing rate, so it's always something that I look at. You know, the next thing that I looked at was what the test was actually comprised of, okay? So this is a very technical position. So some of the test questions included runoff calculations for stormwater, determining native versus non-native species, plant identification, so they actually had a picture of the plant and they would have to identify the physical plant, and then soil types. All of those things that were included in the test were certainly taken from the position description. But one of the things that I want us to look at the next time around, the next time we have an opportunity to give this test, 2 things really. The first thing that I would want us to consider is the qualifications. Our qualifications for this position are very vast. You'll notice that you can have a degree in biology, you can have a degree in geology, you can have experience in that, but you may not have physical experience working in urban conservation study, okay? So just because you have a degree in biology doesn't mean that you've had experience in the urban conservation. And so that's something that I would like us to consider next time around, is having a more focused qualifications group, because what I believe that happened is that we had all of this vast qualifications, but in the end, when we gave a test that was very specific to the subject matter, people did not pass because we let in, honestly, anyone who meets the minimum qualifications. That's one option that we could consider for next time. The next option that I'd like to consider for next time is the test itself. Each test we create and we remake a new one, and we consult with other cities to see what do your tests look like so that we can kind of match them up to ours. And that's certainly something that I'd like to look at each one of those components, because one of the examples that I can give you where I saw a huge decline in scores, where people really had a hard time identifying plants. They had a difficult time actually matching up the actual plant with the picture itself. They also had a very, very difficult time determining native species, which is really important for an urban conservationist, especially when we are giving advice to builders and looking at code and law. So again, 2 components that people really, really struggled with. I want to look at some different options again the next time around. Maybe it's a study guide, maybe it's a key bank. There are different ways that I believe we can improve our passing rates, but still get a very qualified candidate. Now, that's not to say that the people that are on the certification list today weren't extremely qualified. So the 2 females that did pass, one passed with a high 80 and the other passed with a low 90. So the 2 females that did pass certainly knew their very technical skills. And the one that's on the list today, the reason why we only have one is because the other female actually took a position at a different city, the same job. So again, very, very qualified candidates, but I would certainly reconsider this type of process moving forward in the future. Any questions? Yes.
Yes?
I'm noticing that for all of these jobs, the vast majority of the candidates are white male. What do we do to try to get more diversity?
That's a great question. So what I would say with, and I can look at the statistics for it. So the promotional statistics that you have in front of you, the two statistics for the first two, that one in particular, promotionals are hard to diversify because you're working with what you already have. And I know that we have discussed this, that sometimes what we currently have isn't the most diverse. I would agree with that, certainly. Now, in looking at some of these more entry-level positions, the ones that we take outside, such as the urban conservationist, some things that we could do to diversify, and some things that I really think that would help us, honestly, is allowing people from other states, truthfully, doing some specific marketing to other states and to some more diversity high populations, and being specific about our recruitment in those areas to bring in people who are different from what we currently have. And I do believe that that would help. It's certainly not going to solve all of our problems, but I do think that it would increase our numbers as we move forward in the future. And I would certainly welcome any other ideas too.
I don't have any ideas. I dealt with it before.
Yeah. Any additional questions? Okay, I think we're good.
Thank you.
So we need to have a motion to accept this list.
We do.
Second.
All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign, so moved. Need a list?
We can adjourn if you're ready, and then I'll bring them up to you just to sign.
Is there anything else before the council? Good to see the chief taking time out today. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
So adjourned.
All right, we did it. Success.
Quick.
You're not gonna